It's February 2026, and if you're an internationally trained doctor looking at Canada, the entire landscape has, well, it's fundamentally shifted.
It really has.
We're not just talking about a few new forms. This is a systemic fast track, something that would have seemed, almost impossible just a few years ago.
It's a complete overhaul. And for this deep dive, we've got the latest data right here from the Government of Canada and the Medical Council of Canada's 2026 guide.
And our mission is pretty clear.
Yeah, to figure out how the immigration system, specifically express entry, has finally started talking to the medical licensing boards.
Which has always been the missing link, right? Those two systems just never seem to connect. But looking at these numbers, the real golden ticket seems to be the provincial nominee program, the PNP.
It absolutely is. I mean, the PNP has always been there to fill labor gaps, but the sheer volume they've dedicated to physicians this year is just unprecedented.
What are we talking about?
We're looking at 5,000 federal immigration spots specifically reserved for doctors who have a job offer from a province.
And it's not just the number of spots, it's the speed. I was looking at the processing times, and this is what really shocked me. If a province nominates you...
It's 14 days.
14 days for a work permit.
That's the game changer.
Yeah.
2 weeks. In the past, a doctor could have a job offer but be stuck in, visa limbo for 6, maybe 8 months.
Right.
Now they can be on the ground working while their PR application processes in the background.
Well, it makes sense. It feels like a direct reaction to that demographic crunch. I think the 2024 stat was that 31% of family physicians in Canada were internationally trained.
The system would collapse without them.
Yeah.
It's that simple. And that's why we're seeing this new category-based selection in express entry. If you have the right medical experience, you just bypass the general pool entirely.
So getting into Canada is one thing.
Exactly. That's only half the battle.
The other half is actually being allowed to practice medicine, to touch a patient. This was always the nightmare scenario, the so-called taxi cab syndrome.
Yeah, where a surgeon ends up driving a cab because they just can't face redoing a 5-year residency program from scratch.
So what's changed there?
It's a shift in philosophy from retraining to assessing. The buzzword you really need to know is PRA, Practice Ready Assessment.
Okay, so it's like a driving test instead of full-on driver's ed. You don't need to learn all over again. You just have to prove you can drive the car.
That's a perfect analogy. And programs like CFPUA in Saskatchewan or PRBay BC have standardized this. It's a 12-week clinical assessment. You work under supervision for 3 months, you prove you're competent, and you get your license. No repeating residency.
But what happens during that gap, that 12 weeks plus the time before? The guide mentions specific roles, clinical assistants or associate physicians.
And this is where you see some provinces are more ahead of the curve than others. Prince Edward Island, for instance, has been very smart about this.
How so?
They've clearly differentiated the two titles in their regulations. So a clinical assistant has one scope of practice and an associate physician has another. It removes all ambiguity.
It sounds bureaucratic, but that really matters, doesn't it? It tells the hospital and the doctor exactly what they are and aren't allowed to do at every single stage.
It's a paid legal bridge to getting your full license. And speaking of payment, we should probably touch on the cost because these exams are not cheap.
Right, but there's support now. The Foreign Credential Recognition Loans program is offering up to $30,000.
Which is huge. It covers travel, exam fees, living costs. It removes that financial barrier. But we have to be clear, this isn't charity. It's a transaction.
You mean the return of service?
Precisely. If you take this PRA fast-track route, whether it's in BC or Saskatchewan, you almost certainly signing a contract.
A contract to do what?
To work in an underserved or a rural community, usually for about 3 years.
So that's the deal. Canada clears all the red tape, fast-tracks your visa, and even loans you the money.
And in exchange, you go provide stability to a rural healthcare system that desperately needs it. It's a quid pro quo. And honestly, for most doctors, it's a fair trade to shave years off their journey.
So when we step back, what we're really looking at is a 14-day permit, 5,000 reserve spots, and a 12-week assessment that replaces years of retraining. The door seems wider open than it's ever been.
It is. Which leaves us with a pretty provocative thought for anyone listening who might be considering this.
What's that?
With all the bureaucratic barriers falling away, the main barrier left is, well, it's geographic. The question isn't, can you practice medicine in Canada anymore? It's where are you willing to live to do it? If the price for your career is 3 years in a town of 5,000 people, do you see that as a restriction, or do you see it as an opportunity to become the pillar of an entire community?